there is an audience of Christians, at least supposed Christians out there, that are proclaiming that Paul's writings are heresy, really, and against what Christ stood for, and that he created his own little direction. Again, this is the problem: is the people that are caught in the final moments of this dying world are mixed up because they're in the problem, and so their eyes just can't see it. So again, bad government, bad this, bad that. And I'm not saying that bad is not happening. These are Satan's kingdoms, but again, they're doing it to their own victims that are with lack of knowledge. So if I am believing in humanism, I'm part of human rights, which is just an absurd concept. All of a sudden now we came up with human rights, but there was no human rights talked about before. In all history, what did it have? Well, it would only been anything that was under God, under mankind, not humankind. So all of a sudden this human rights movement shows up, and now there's people preaching on the internet, you're just not exercising your human rights under a charter. They're not absolute, and they're for the people that are on the prodigal son journey who don't comprehend what's going on. They want to take charge of something they don't understand. So Paul was very clear, and he is not a heretic, in Romans 13, where he said, "Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake." Well, conscience is equity, so be understanding there, you cannot receive equity, which relates to the involuntary trust or constructive trust, without being subject to the system that has everything in place ordained by God. You're just on the wrong side right now. And they can't do anything for you while you're in that side, taking charge of something that you're not supposed to be involved in. You cannot serve God and money or mammon. It was stressed there. It wasn't maybe or a little bit of this and a little bit of that. The problem is most people are not ready for the spiritual side that doesn't deal with mammon anymore, and lets those who control the mammon look after their own property. The spiritual, true property is your God-given name. The false property or false name property that belongs to the counterfeit side, the coin side, the Caesar side, is not yours. It belongs to Caesar, but you're interfering with Caesar looking after his own responsibility. And so this is a very, very difficult thing. And why was Jesus in the parable of the prodigal son, why was he speaking in mammon terms that people would understand? Because that's all they could understand at that moment. He was speaking to them in their own comprehension level at that moment. Why the apostles said, "Why do you speak to them in parables, but we get the mystery?" Because they had the cataract legal, basically hindrances over their eyes while they were in that learning journey. They weren't ready yet for the spiritual side, so he was speaking to them at the level that the audience could understand. I'm realizing now that I, as everybody else, was caught with those legal mammon cataracts over my eyes, and I didn't see. So we have to go slowly on this, and that's why I am going slowly on these videos. It's because I don't want to go too fast. You're going to need to look at the word prodigal. Even in the law, they call that a spendthrift trust. So certainly, if you do not really have legal title, you could only have a counterfeit token of value to carry around. So these little wallet size, bond certificates that were issued to the prodigals make sense, because they can't, if they don't have legal authority and they're a stranger to the contract, of course give them a counterfeit. Can't give them the real token. This is just an extract from a birth registration document that they put into place, but it's like, again, it's designed to be ambiguous and unclear. It's designed in the manner to be what it is, that it's not to conflict on either side. That's why it's written just name, because they were not to cross the line on God's property or confuse it with the other, with the Caesar's property. So it was written in the manner to make it what it is as a bond or a trademark. So there's everything that's going on is going on properly. And so There's people complaining right now. I understand that. Oh, I'm being forced to wear a legal mask as I do legal commerce out there. Well, that's just to wake up the believers to stop being in there, because that's going to continue far worse. They will eventually not only have you wear their persona surname mask, but they'll also not just have you wear a mask to show that you're on the wrong side, but they'll also inject the artificial substance or ID information right into your body. You won't be carrying around one of these. It'll, as far as a piece of paper, you'll be carrying it around inside your body, so that it absolutely shows whose side you're on. So it's very difficult. We're doing our research properly, and I'm not putting a lot of videos up today. Only reason being is because you need to digest what we've just talked about. But research everything under Spendthrift Trust, Prodigal Son. Read the Luke 15. Read it thoroughly, get your head around it, and then we'll come back together during next week, and we'll go further with it, so that now you'll be able to see what God has placed in Scripture for us, and that this book is here to guide you, to light your pathway, so that you're able to survive the coming disaster that is certainly going to come upon those prodigal sons who may not return to the Father.